Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we are starting our first of the 4 new leaders. I'm putting together a set 2 profile for each of those new leaders. Like I said, none of what I'm about to put here has been tested. This is just me theory crafting based off of my experience of Fusion World is, what I'm kind of expecting from other colours. So I'm trying to make this deck as playable as possible into other matchups as well. Yellow Vegeta for me is probably a deck I'm likely going to main next set. I love the leader. I love the alt art leader in particular. It's absolutely beautiful. So in the proper TCG, not on the digital client, I'll probably play it on the digital client, of course, but in the main TCG, I think I want to try and get some games in with this and see how we can play with Vegeta, because I absolutely adore that leader. He's so beautiful, and I actually really like the defensive untap of energy. I come from playing Masters where I know just how strong that can be. Obviously, Fusion Worlds is very different, but to the same extent, we have a lot of good cards in yellow that we can use defensively. So that's kind of what I've focused the build around, is essentially using all of our energy every single turn, and then untapping 2 of them to then have that as the defensive backup in case we need it. There are certainly things that I might have to change in this list. Once we go through it, you'll kind of see that there's maybe a few cards that you were surprised to see missing. One in particular being Supernova, which is kind of a spoiler alert. I'm still trying to find ways where we can fit Supernova into the deck. We'd have to cut one of the extra cards which I've added in, which I actually really like for this leader, and I know I'm probably going to get a lot of heat for it, but there is reason to the madness, which I will go over once I do the full reveals. And then obviously if there's anybody who wants to comment on the list, and anybody who thinks maybe we should cut something else for a Supernova here or there, then obviously I'm more than happy to have that discussion. But we'll just go through the profile first. So for those of you that don't know, on both sides, Vegeta just draws 1 on attack. He awakens at 4 less, like the typical leader. The only difference on this leader is at the end of the turn, we switch 2 of our energy to active mode. So Frieza switches battle cards, Vegeta switches energy. The first card we're running it for is Bulma. It's just the best 1-drop yellow has. It's absolutely insane. I'm sure I went over this with the Frieza list, but we'll just go over it again. On play, you switch her to active mode. Actually, it's active battle, isn't it? Yeah, it's active battle, sorry. Switch it to rest, you take a life, and then you choose one of these effects, essentially. So you can choose one of your opponent's battle cards with a cost of 4 less and switch it to rest, or if you have a rest 1 battle card with a cost of 3 or more, you draw 1. That's a very good effect, and we'll get into why that's a very good effect shortly, but it's very, very good. She's a very good draw engine. She's also very good at just self-awakening to getting us to that 4 life, which is kind of obviously what we're looking to do. And then the next one is Zarbon. We still run Friezas, even though we are not a Frieza clan deck, or Frieza army deck, or whatever you want to call them. But he's still valuable just because of that, just because we can dig out dig out the Self-Awakener, we can dig out the 4 cost, dig out the 5 cost, the Secret Rare, all that stuff. It's definitely a great card, right? I still think it's definitely running at 4 off, just because if you run any of the Frieza army stuff, which you realistically should be running, this card is just an absolute must. Then we have the 1-drop Frieza, which I forgot about there. 10k combo, mainly, but also the on-play to switch a battle card to rest. This effect will come up quite a lot, I think, with yellow as it is now, because we want to lock our opponent out of the game. That's the idea. I do think that Frieza does locking a lot better than what Vegeta does, but again, it's still there. It's a 10k combo. You know, we can rest blockers, we can lock down big threats if we want to stop. Absolutely, it's a must at 4. I'm sure of that. Then we run 2 Kui. I wanted to put this to 3 just because when I theory craft this deck, I honestly think our worst matchup is Top Coup being the new aggro deck. That's definitely one of the worst matchups for this deck. And then the other one is just Green in general. Green's capability to ramp now is wild. Kui just kind of shuts off any of their KO effects, right? Yes, they'll KO battle cards, but if I block or if he KOs Kui, the card they play to do it just gets put in rest mode, right? It's such a good card. It's too good to ignore. You have to run this in the deck. And then we have four of the Self-Awakened Friezas for obvious reason. We take a life, we rest something 3 or less, right? Good card. We run 4 nades. I don't like running 4 of this card. The only reason why I run it at 4 is because we were kind of lacking on the 10k side, which again I'll show you in a minute. But I think running it at 4 is fine. You know, if just in case this is not the ideal turn to play, we have this. So it's there for that as well. And then we run 3 of the SR Vegetas. This card for me is a strange one, right? His effect to protect your cards and rest from being KO'd are very applicable in this leader. In Frieza, it doesn't matter because he restands your cards anyway, right? So the only time that this ever comes up is if your opponent rests your own battle cards. But in Vegeta, we don't have the cadence to untap our own battle cards. So it honestly makes sense to put this in here for that reason. The other reason is that on play, we add up to 1 card from our life to our hand, so it can be a Self-Awakener. And then we play 1 battle card with a cost of 1 or less from my hand, right? The idea is that you want to play the Bulma off of this. You attack with this, you then rest the Bulma off the active battle. This is in rest mode, so you draw a card, right? That's it. Simple as. It's great for that effect. It essentially replaces this card the turn it's played, or sorry, itself the turn it's played. And if you get value of the Bulma sticking around, which you won't, but if you do, yeah, you can get multiple draws out of that. So I like this combination of the two of them. The fact it's a 20k to me is what lets this down. I'd much rather this be 25k since I'm attacking, since I'm paying 3 energy for it. That's just my take, but it's a decent card. It's okay, right? That's the way I see it. It's an okay card. Then we run 1 of the 4-cost Friezas. This is just a game ender. It's not our key to victory, but it's there if we see it and we can get our opponent down to 1 life. And then we run 4 of the Goku, which is an absolutely nuts card. On play and when attacking, we lock down an opponent's card in rest mode, or battle card in rest mode. Ridiculous card. 10k combo, it's very good. We're still running coolers, so we still run 3 coolers as well. On the attack and on block, obviously we rest the battle card and KO if it's 2 or less. Very good card. We run 3 of the 5 drops. Again, more ways for us just to lock down our opponent. And then we run 2 secret rares. I know I accidentally left this off of the Frieza build. I did correct it in terms of I put comments in as to what I would cut to fit this in. I just remembered that I completely forgot about this card. Very dumb of me because this card is this card is stupid good. It's permanent. Your opponent's battle cards with a cost of 5 or more are played in rest mode. Dumb. Really dumb, right? If you're playing against anything not green, your opponent realistically can't deal with this card. Blue technically can to an extent, but it's stupid. It's just wild how good this card is. And then on play, choose up to 1 of your opponent's rest 1 battle cards, any energy, and KO it. The value in this card is too good. 6 energy, 40k. If we get this down, our opponent, even if they play, like if I'm playing green and they play Broly, right, okay, it's now in rest mode, fair enough, you've killed this card, but your turn's over, right? That's it. That's the only commit. That's the only thing you were able to do in that turn. Yeah, it's a great card. It's too good. Very, very good card. But definitely the best. I would argue this is the best secret rare in the game at the minute. Yeah, it's such a good card. And then 4 super combos. Again, like I said with the Frieza, super combos outside of the U7 stuff really doesn't matter. Just pick whichever yellow super combo you want. And then now we've got the 3 extra cards. So I run 3 Blue Power Awakening. This could be a 4 of. I would need to play with the ratios on the other extra cards because I have too many and I'm still not comfortable on that balance. But it's mainly for the active battle where we choose our leader or one of our battle cards and it gains plus 25k power. Defensively, it's free because of our leader effect. It also has an active main for 2 energy where we can choose a battle card with a cost of 6 or more and KO it, right? Well, has to be in rest mode, of course, but it's definitely good for that as well. So it's multi-purpose. That's the way I would call this card. The main thing is the defensive side, though. And then we have Time Rewound. We run 3 of these. Again, opponent's turn effect, so on our leader, makes sense. It's a plus 20k buff, and we restand a battle card. Very good, right? I can't complain at that. It's very, very good. And then the last one, which... This one is a bit of a take on my part, right? I still think that this card's actually pretty good. I know a lot of people hated on this card. In Frieza, because we just sit and lock down their board consistently, I don't think you ever need this card. But in this matchup, with this leader, we're not locking down as consistently, which is kind of why I know that people will argue that Supernova should replace this. But the other reason why I like this is because it's usable on our opponent's turn. And if we have both of these, like the Blue Power Awakening gets you out of one attack for free, realistically, right? It gets you out of one attack. If you have both of these, it gets you out with 2 attacks potentially. So I still maintain that I like Death Ball in this leader, but I could understand why people wouldn't. That's the only thing I'll say. I know that some people will disagree at Death Ball, but if we can't lock down a 3 cost in the attack with the leader first, we can just Death Ball out the attack and rest the 3 cost. So we've got out of 2 attacks for 1 energy. It's value. It's just value all round. I think that the card is really good. There are obviously matchups where it's pretty useless. You know, if you're playing against green, resting a 3 or less is going to get you nowhere. It doesn't matter. But for the most of the meta, yellow, red, blue, yes, it's a good card. We can consistently rest their cards if we can't even just lock them down. And it's why I like Death Ball. Again, people might disagree. People might prefer Supernova. It's your take. Build it however you want. This is just going to be my version 1 build. And again, like I said with all my other videos, we're going to test with it. If I feel that Death Ball's not performing, it's going to get cut. But that's what we have to do. We have to test first before I can say for certain whether or not it's good. But again, for 1 energy on a leader that untaps 2 at the end of the turn, I think it's fine. I think it's a completely fine card, and I think it does everything I need it to do. And that's it. That's the way I see it. But guys, that's the Vegeta deck profile. If there are any changes or any adjustments that people would make, like I say, hit me up in the comments. Always up for the discussion on this part. And otherwise, yeah, quite happy with the list so far. Like I say, once the set launches, we'll definitely be testing Vegeta because, like I said, it's probably going to be the leader I main most next set. I absolutely adore this leader. So I'm gonna play around with the ratios and try and find the correct build and find the one that I think works best. There are definitely changes I think I would make to this deck. Just looking at it now, I know that I'm maybe lacking a couple of things, but I just off the top of my head I can't really think of what they are. But yeah, I think that the deck does good at playing the mid game, and then when it gets to the late game, you know, our turn 4, 5, and 6 is basically guaranteed here. And again, we have the cadence of tapping out with this leader, which is why I love this Blue Power Awakening. So absolutely, I think Vegeta is going to be a very, very solid deck next set. I still don't think it's better than Frieza, but I think it's going to be a very, very solid deck to play against. Sorry. But yeah, guys, if you haven't already, please like the video, and if you're not already a subscriber, please hit that subscribe button, and I will catch you all in the next video. Peace.